So somebody blocked you and they blocked their blessings when they did. I'm getting some downloads, y'all, and I felt uncomfortable keeping them to myself. So some of y'all got people that was they knew they were whatever abuse they were doing, they knew they were blocking a blessing. They knew that they were causing you a delay. They kind of didn't want you to get ahead. It was like a covert attack. So if y'all have been dealing with someone keeping y'all going in circles about the same stuff, it was done on purpose. And they're not getting any downloads on how to get out of karma right now. They think they're right, so they're blocking you, but blocking their blessings. Do not say nothing, y'all. Don't show your cards, okay? Um, be quiet. Don't mention your next move. Don't say anything, okay? Um, this this month at this point, all the way to June, the end of June is very important for all of y'all. I got the number 6, and then when I pulled the oracle, June came out. So that's confirmation. 6 to 7 months, some of y'all are supposed to have the breakthrough of your life. Confirmation. Did y'all see the video go like that? Confirmation. So some of y'all had somebody corrupting your feminine energy. Now, before I continue, I do want to say my angel guides already told me that people want to come in here and attack me. I do not care. I do not care, y'all. Like at this point, I already know that there's people that's been reading on my energy and they're looking at when I'm going to have breakthroughs. So that's why they're coming to disrespect me. So I'm just going to delete people, block them forever, and just keep on with this guidance. Okay. Today is a day to try to be soft. It's going to be hard because there's a lot of energy manipulation. There's a lot of covert energy coming through. So you may need to go somewhere with your affirmations, or go speak to your local minister, or go and sit at your local church if you're church going, or pack your bags and go somewhere peaceful and spiritual to get away from the toxic modern energy. I feel like there's a lot of toxic modern energy coming through. There's a lot of gender wars going on again right now. So just be careful of being involved with that type of energy, okay? You're going to feel tempted to like have it out, but it's because the narcissistic energy is like putting pressure on you. It's putting pressure on the throat chakra, the root chakra, and certain the Empress energy is under attack. So the older feminine energy is under attack. So you really want to stay away from people that have negative things to say about aging people, or people who are trying to get in shape. If you're trying to get in shape, you need to stay away from people in groups that are like hating on obese people. If you're someone, or if there's someone in here attacking people who are obese, you're going to fall in heavy judgment, okay? Winter is a time for purging and releasing. People are trying to get in shape, and what they don't need to hear is negativity. What they don't need to be exposed to is wishy-washy and passive aggressive energy. People who are juggling people because they thinking they can't get nobody else, those people are going to be suffering come July. Okay. I've been doing good. I've been really just sitting in my queen and empress energy a little longer, since I could feel was under attack. You know, it's important to uh, get to a soft place before you sit down and do some hard work. But I feel like the feminine energy is under so much heavy attack right now that it's like, wow. It's even aggressive young people attacking the older energy. And I'm not attacking young people in here, but I'm just saying where the energy is coming from. There is there's a lot of toxic energy going on in race groups right now and family right now, relationships. So just people want to be covert. Just be don't say nothing, y'all. Okay. Jokers are wild right now. That means the odds are actually in your favor. Okay. But if you're not practicing being soft, it's going to be hard to keep that favored energy. If you are putting your self care first and you're being mindful of your diet, you could be rewarded for that. So I heard find a way to make it slightly easier. So get a template for some of y'all. Y'all just need a diet template and need to just stick with the template, or find a template for your work and just stick with it. You know, when the Empress come out, um, she has a foundation that she follows. Okay, the foundation that people that's that's been around longer than her, maybe even older than her, very old people, then gave her to follow. So consider working on a very solid foundation right now for achieving your goals. And that's going to require you to do some grounding, especially with the heart chakra, the root chakra, the throat chakra. So maybe go do the tree pose. I know some of y'all are like, it's too cold. But here's the thing, there's no such thing as the season being wrong for champions. If you really are a champion, then you need to be a champion through anything, y'all. Get the work done regardless. Okay? Stephen Pressfield's book, Turning Pro, is a wonderful book in explaining about having a military mindset when you're trying to achieve goals. I was I was watching Range Runners the other day, and it reminded me about how to embrace discomfort. Okay, you don't have to react to it, but you could just kind of like just surrender to the discomfort. Okay, one thing I found out is when you surrender to the discomfort of being overweight, of having less money, and you just do the work, the odds turn in your favor. If you are if you're living in the past, then you're not embracing the discomfort. If you're living in the future, then you're embracing fear. When you're living in the present, as this famous monk said, Leo Toes, I think that's his name, Taj, he's a famous monk, spiritual leader. If you're living in the present, then you are actually embracing the discomfort. You're accepting what it is and then saying, I go from here. Okay? Nothing could stay discomfort forever. If you embrace it and accept it and just work on it from there. The way the world, the cosmos work, they cannot let something stay negative forever. You're going to be released from it in one way or another. Even if you don't release yourself from your toxic situation, the creator's going to release you. Whether they're going to take the people out of your life, take your job from you, you're going to get fired if it's toxic, you're going to have less money to buy junk food if the odds are supposed to be in your favor in which you're supposed to lose weight. You cannot avoid the change. You can run, hide all you want, but the universe demands balance. So if it's been locked up for so long, and you think you could just be a scaredy cat and leave it that way, it's not going to stay that way. You know, I thought I could be a scaredy cat and keep catering to my mom, even though I wasn't getting the love I was supposed to get. And other people knew, but everybody pretended not to see. And I thought I could pretend that I wasn't experiencing it. What happened was when my mom died, the truth came out. See? Everybody was in denial. Everybody was pretending that I wasn't abused, that I wasn't the abused daughter, that everybody allowed be abused. Nobody protected me as a toddler in the family. Everyone thought that they can keep it as a secret and make me think it was delusional. See, that was them thinking the scales was never going to get even. When my mom died, it all came out. The truth came out. And it was right in my face and it could not be denied. See, that was the Creator saying, you did not have the talk with your mom and family about what happened. You think you can go on and pretend like it didn't happen, but watch what I do. I'm gonna bring this tower down. And that's what the Creator did. When the Creator brought my mom down, the tower came down, as they say in tarots. So one way or another, it's coming down. When people think they can avoid divorce, know what happens? Somebody gets caught cheating, or somebody walks, or somebody somehow gets kicked out the marriage in one way or another, because when it's over, y'all. And when the Creator, let me tell y'all, I thought that I can keep on fighting with a certain person in the family about how they was doing me. And the Creator told me, no more fighting with them about it. Let me deal with it. But I kept on fighting with them about it. You know what the Creator did? The Creator blocked me in another area of my life and told me, until I let Him deal with that person, this other area of my life is not going to open up. So I had to say, okay, I'm going to let the Creator bring that tower down the way the Creator wants that tower to come down. Stop trying to fight and keep it up because it's over. And just go here. And then this other half of my life opened up. Okay? Okay, y'all. Hi, everybody. I don't know what the queef mean, but it sounds a little toxic, so I'll put you in timeout. Okay. Hi, everybody. Okay. My oracle said all these negative people were coming, so I'm trying to see whose energy I got to kick out of here. When you reach a certain point where you know you're covered and favored, and you know that every time people think they got you stuck, the Creator opens another path for you. You get to a point where you be like, bye. You could literally get rid of anybody at that point. See, some people are that favored. I'm that favored where another path will just open up. Right when you think you stopped it, it just opens right up. See, some of us came into this world. Some of y'all came into this world with so much good karma that the blessings you're supposed to get cannot be stopped. Cannot be stopped. You could deal with anything and another branch will open up for you. You could have already earned, your soul already earned what you're getting in this life. So it really doesn't matter how anybody act. But some people, they don't even believe in the spiritual realm. They don't believe in the metaphysical realm. So this is why they think they can stop it. But when they see that they're not stopping it, then they start to get shook and they start to get scared. Then what they do is they try to attack you in secret at that point. Because they know if you know what they're doing, and they've been seeing how you're so protected, that they may actually get karma then. So some people attack you in secret because they think they can avoid karma. Like, long as you don't know, they're safe. And it doesn't work that way. It doesn't work that way. So if you feel like you're stuck, it's because there is a branch that's probably already presented itself and you're doubting the value of it. It could be something that society has told you that you can't do. Yet the Creator's not basing it upon the perspective of society. The creator is basing it upon your metaphysical self. So if you're like, oh, I can't do that because I'm over 50, I'm this race, or I'm this size, that's society. You have to ask yourself, when you put yourself in a dream state about that thing, how does it make you feel? If it gives you deep emotional fulfillment, then you are supposed to do it. I know some of y'all say the wicked is not supposed to do wicked. Yes, they are. If they're wicked, they're doing exactly what they're supposed to be doing. You know, um, it's giving them emotional fulfillment. But if you're not wicked, whatever you're doing is supposed to give you emotional fulfillment if it's not wicked. The thing is, start living more in your imagination with whatever paths that you have so that you can get spiritual and physical confirmation whether you're supposed to do it, regardless of what you look like, regardless of what people say. The literature that I write, people do not believe that I've written it. When I've had people say, is this really your work? I've actually had publishers and hosts of workshops say, did you write this? Because they're going by this, okay? They don't think that an African American woman in this time period could be a brilliant contemporary poet. They don't believe that. I'm supposed to just be a rhyme, spoken word poet. I'm not supposed to know 30 different literary devices. I don't look like I do, according to the stereotype of who's the best poets, okay? The contemporary poets that are figurative is supposed to be Bill Collins, okay? It's supposed to be Jericho Brown, okay? A younger black man or old white dude. I'm keeping it real, y'all. It's never supposed to be a middle-aged black woman that was around during Maya Angelou time. I am not supposed to be skilled and gifted in multiple tools in writing. But we are not here to prove society stereotypes correct. We're here to prove that it's wrong. That spirit speaks over stereotypes. The spirit has the last word. We are here to train in a way that will challenge society stereotypes. Okay? If you're going with the usual stereotypes and trends, how can you say that you're challenging it? You probably aren't. For example, when I see black women cook fried chicken all the time, that's not challenging. What about giving some recipes for baked chicken instead of fried chicken? Okay? People think we can only fry. We ain't really good at baking. So you bake as a black woman to challenge this system. Okay? All right. Okay. I've had people refuse to learn from me because they just could not believe when I said, I can teach you contemporary poetry, figurative. They like, nah, nope. And then they go reading through my archives of my poetry, and then they come running back. They come running back and they say, well, how much do you charge? And then that offends me. I say, well, then I raise the price because that lets me know that they were stereotyping me. Okay. So like I said, I even have publishers, they always take longer with getting back to me. Why? Because they are deep researching, making sure that I wrote the work. You're going to experience stuff like this. You're going to experience, people are going to say, no, you can't do it. No. Okay? No, you can't grow long here. You're 4C. No, you can't. It's your job to do something that people say you can't do. I could have easily went and started writing Still I Rise like Maya Angelou, but I said, why am I going to do that? Where am I going to do that? Okay? I'm not showing how powerful the brain of a Black woman is. I can learn 40 literary devices as well. You know what I find interesting is that when I did learn that, this is how blind the system is. I'm using my story as an example. That I actually had mentors say, oh, you might be a genius. Like I was born a genius and that's why I could do it. I was offended by that. Because it was like, oh, only reason why you can do it as a Black woman is because you was born with genius ability. As if I didn't do the hard work. As if I never had to study. As if I didn't put in the energy and in the practice. I felt that that was a backhanded insult. Very passive aggressive to say. They don't say that about white people when they master stuff. They say they got their PhD, they spent 10 years in grinding. They call them a genius only after their work is successful. I don't like it when I do homework in universities and they say, oh, you might be a genius. Okay, so you're saying this is impossible. It's impossible. It's impossible to understand telling a slant. How do you know to tell a slant? You're literally a Black woman. You that's too deep for me to understand Emily Dickinson. To be able to redefine her work in 5 different ways how she could have wrote it. I'm not qualified for that. And that's exactly why I won't quit. That's why when all hell break loose, I realized that I have to show the young Black writers, the young Black women, that you do not have to be pigeonholed. You don't have to just write about oppressed stuff. As a Black woman, you don't have to do videos just teaching people about how to get a booty. You could do videos on waist training only. You don't have to do videos all about the butt. Okay? I know we feel, well, that's fast cash, but it's not longevity cash. It's not legacy cash. Okay? You want the legacy. You want, see, your life right now is actually your funeral. I know, do you know that your life is actually the evidence of your future funeral? Okay? You are literally writing your obituary. Do you want people to have say, oh, your obituary is just like every other obituary I didn't heard for somebody like you or where you came from? No. You want your obituary to shock everybody. To have that one thing in there that shocks everybody. That just disciplines everybody who discriminate. Everybody just get humbled in your funeral if they thought that somebody like you could never do it. Hi, everybody. Somebody said that's why they keep us down. Exactly. This is why I have decided to use my personal osmosis, because we all have osmosis for our life purpose, for our destiny. Okay, we activate it when we practice the talents. Okay, once you grab onto the talents and you do the talent, you do the skills, all of a sudden the osmosis will kick in. Okay, where you can do it naturally without thinking, while everybody else has to keep retaking the lessons and keep doing drills. At some point, you won't have to do drills because your osmosis will become a permanent memory bank for what you're doing. Okay, what you were chosen to do. As minorities, it's our personal responsibility to bring it to our communities where they're told it's impossible to do it. Okay? This is why I'm going to be having workshops specifically for Black people only. I know people are like, oh, that's no. No one is telling white people that they can't do contemporary poetry and figurative and metaphors. No one's telling East Indians. We are being told that. Every time you turn around, you go to poetry readings and all you see is Black people going up there doing spoken word. Spoken word and I'm not trying to offend anybody, but spoken word is something that almost anybody could do. But the real test is, can you tell it slant in any type of art form? And we're not just talking about poetry. We're talking about in any type of art. Can you tell it slant? Now, once you access the osmosis for one purpose that you have, you'll notice that you're led to all the other purposes that are connected to that. Okay? And then the osmosis just becomes like a field of flowers in your head that you just can harvest at any time. But you are not allowed to gatekeep that when you know that your race is being blocked from it and being told it's impossible. If you happen to access anything internally that your race and gender has been told no, you have a personal responsibility to bring it to your race and gender. I did not know this until I started going into my North Node and, my natal chart. And it was like, oh, feminine energy. Okay. And the dark energy, transformation. And we know with figurative art, it gets into transformation, symbolism, tonalist slant, juxtaposition, all that is transformation. Juxtaposition is going from light to dark, dark to light, okay? Beauty and ugly in the same work. That's a lot of things. That's a technique that a lot of Black people don't know how to do. I'm not trying to be smart. Don't know how to do it in art because they don't teach it to us unless we pay $80,000, 8 years in college to do it. Okay. And so what happens if we don't have the money and the grants, we're stuck with these little books out here that's not giving us the secret. I have something to tell y'all. Most of the later day books of art does not have the secret ingredients to exceptional, undeniable, great art. They don't have it. You have to go to the books that was put out like in the 90s or 80s because those people were in a time period where they really wasn't fighting over like who's going to be the best at this. They wasn't in that energy. Okay. So, but any of the books after like the 90s, y'all, the teachers are saying, you got the book, but if you want the secrets, you're going to have to pay. You're going to have to take my university course. See what I'm saying? And it's like, we don't need to be fighting over grants. So I feel like this. Me personally, I don't want Black writers to have to fight over grants. I'm going to make sure that what I know, and I'm not trying to brag, but I'm one of the best writers walking this earth. And I'm not trying to brag about it, but even my mentor, a professor, said, you're probably a genius in this at this point because most people don't do this, what you're doing, over and over again. I could do literature over and over again. I could write the same poem 15 times and it'll be exceptional. Doesn't matter what it is. If I do it one time, I could do it 10, 15 times. I want Black people to not have to go broke learning literature. We need to get back to literature. Okay? You can get money sitting on your butt doing literature. Serious. You don't even have to talk to nobody. You can do your literature, put it out there. People are sick and tired of TV. People are sick and tired of these apps. People are running back to the books now. Look at all these books coming out. They're running back. They're tired of the online social toxicity. There's an exodus happening. People are leaving social media by the thousands. Okay, we're going in reverse. We're going back to the 90s and 80s. The music is starting to sound like the 90s and 80s. Where time is in rewind. This means this is a golden opportunity for African Americans to cash in on that in a way people won't even think that you will do it. People think you're not going to do it. that you're not going to publish your photography books, that you're not going to sell your art books. They think you're not. They think you're just going to be an entrepreneur on these apps, running your mouth and waiting for some monetized breakthrough. They don't think you're going to back up your videos into books and put them out. They don't think that you're going to have a random art gallery sale out here. Okay? I know y'all think that don't sell anymore. Yes, it do. It sells to the rich. And the rich are looking for up and coming people's work. They didn't have enough of Picasso. They didn't have enough of Rembrandt and all of them. They're looking for up and coming artists. Why do you think now all these publishers are saying we're looking for emerging artists? We're looking for underrepresented. You can now get a lot of your stuff published without paying a submission fee if you are Black. This is not going to last forever. These publishers are doing this because they see what has been going on with the election the last 10 years. So these publishers are like, if you're a minority, if you're Black, if you're LGBTQ, free submissions. Get y'all stuff out there. Even if you only win second place, you won something. You might not win the $1,000 prize, but you're still walking away with $500. And anybody who has won prizes, like me, who has placed and nominated for big awards, we are going to be held in judgment for gatekeeping the secrets. Stop gatekeeping. If you are African American and you know some of the secrets, to exceptional work, and you're a prize winner, if you're a prize winner like me, stop gatekeeping those secrets. Because guess what? All the other groups aren't doing that to each other. Y'all know I love talking to the African American community. I'm everybody. This video is for everybody. This even goes if you're Irish, if you're an Irish woman. Stop gatekeeping that. If you know you fall into any minority group in any kind of way, stop gatekeeping. Okay? You will be rewarded when you give back and share your osmosis. Even if it's just a little bit. Okay? The reward will be downloads. You will get ideas for your next body of work. Because I am so generous with my critique of other writers' work in these groups. Because I go to groups with new writers who are blocked, and I sit and I give critique and I share my brilliant work. The creator says, okay, let me give you another project and another project and another project. Helping and giving back when you have accessed your superpower is a way to never lose it. To never lose it. Don't look at it as competition, because there's no one who will ever be able to do it like you. You can teach the techniques all you want. The person's never going to be able to do it like you. Never. Even if they use the structure of your work, their own character, personality, their own emotions and moods are going to come through, and everything's going to change, and it's going to be metamorphosized into another body of work. So stop being afraid that someone's going to be you. No one can be you in your art. How many people try to be Andy Warhol and failed? How many people tried to be Charles Bukowski and failed? I had somebody send me their work and was like, you mentioned Charles Bukowski. I write like Charles Bukowski. I said, that's where you're going wrong. The teachers before us, they are a step on the ladder. They are not the ladder. They are a step on it. Okay? They're there to help you find a personality trait in your art. But all of the personality trait you have to find for yourself. You have to be able to admit your true character, your true personality traits. And then all you do is you include that, and you find work for inspiration for that. So for example, y'all know I could be a little sassy, I could be bold, and I could be blunt. I used to oppress that in me. I used to say I can't put that in my literature. I used to say I can't tell the cold hard truth. I'm gonna get rejected. So one day I put it in my homework at the private school I went to, and the teacher was like, your personality trait, you have a personality trait in your work that reminds me of Charles Bukowski. And then I remembered like finding his books in the thrift store and was like, this is a cool dude. Okay. That's very odd for a woman, an African American woman to say that about Charles Bukowski. But I'm allowed to like Charles Bukowski. I'm allowed. Okay. It might seem like it's going against my own gender, but I'm allowed to like his personality. I realized when I liked his personality, I was actually liking a part of my own personality that I was oppressing. Because people say, as a Black woman, I'm not allowed to be blunt. I'm not allowed to be sassy. See, right there was holding my work back. Once I decided to just say, whatever, if I'm sassy in the work, I don't care. If I say something that's like cold, blunt in it, I don't care. That's when the publishers were like quoting me on those lines, saying, we want this work, featuring me on their stuff. I recently wrote a poem where I was bold in confronting a family members, where I was like, all over the page with the words and the phrases, but really kind of bold and blunt in the work. I had no idea that a publisher was hiding out in this private group. It was a classroom, but it was a publisher in there low key watching all of us craft our poems on the documents. The publisher looked at my email, emailed me, and asked to publish my work in their newsletter. I swore up and down that this poem was never going to get accepted. Okay? Never. Meanwhile, the publisher came towards me. It is a very in-your-face, bold, I'm not being gentle poem, but there's an audience for it. There's an audience for you. Don't change who you are. I know you think you're stuck, but I'm going to tell you, one reason why you're stuck is because you're oppressing your true self. That gets you stuck every time. You're like, I can't be like this. I can't do this. I can't sing this way. I can't create this way. I can't. All that is like, you're literally self-sabotaging. Okay? You're allowed to have any personality you want. There's a group for it. There was a group for Les Brown. There's a sassy, smart aleck group for Jim Rohn. Jim Rohn has a smart mouth. Okay? But there's a whole group on YouTube for him. Just think about that. There's a group for Oprah. Her bougie attitude. There's a group for her. Okay? The cocky, arrogant attitude to J-Lo. There's a group for her. The sassy girl next door attitude, Ashanti, there's a group for her. Okay, the quick-witted, little smart, like little smart jabs back like Whitney Houston, there's a group for her. Be who you are. You cannot remove that. Now, you can add whoever you want to you, but you still got to have your own signature personality. You got to put that in your stuff. Okay? And there's people that knows that your signature personality traits. And as soon as you don't do it, they know you're being fake. Hi, everybody. Oh, hi, everybody. Exactly. Let me tell you, be happy when someone tries to get into your rhythmic spiritual energy of your craft. Because soon as they do that, they will end up putting themselves in there too. By mistake. They don't even know they're doing it. And then they created this warped new version. But guess what? You can also steal the new version they created. So if you say, okay, this person, the reason why I don't want to teach, because somebody going to get into my swag. Okay, guess what? Their personality traits is still going to shine through. Going to bust through the swag. So they didn't create some new type of thing. You go and you take that and you add to it too. And next thing you know, you got a new metamorphosized thing from the thing that they created from you. creation over recreation over recreation. I even do this with old poems of mine, old free flowing stuff, just stuff that I did in stream of consciousness. I'll say, okay, let me see what I can metamorphosize this into. Sometimes it becomes a prose narrative piece, and it was originally just a poem, or it was a poem and then it turned into a some sort of narrative song or whatever. I was writing a poem one day, I could have swore in this group, and then somehow it metamorphosized into a song. And the lady was like, we gave you the option to write a song. She said, actually, that's some good lyrics there. I said, no, I wasn't writing. I told the lady, I said, I wasn't writing lyrics. I thought I was writing a poem. But the point is, that's another thing. From the very beginning, when you're create, do not give it a definition. The definition comes from the final result. Okay? Don't even say that you're a fitness coach. Say, I'm somebody that just worked the body. Okay? I work the body. Once the results is there, then you can slap a definition on it. You could be like, okay, I guess I'm really a waist trainer because I see my waist is more abundant than my booty. Okay, then the results will always reveal who your metaphysical self really is, the superpower of your metaphysical self. And I tell my student writers whenever I was mentoring, I say, I don't want you to think that you're writing a poem. I want you to write as if you're teaching someone something, as if I don't even know what you know. Tell me what you know. Tell me what you think you know. Tell me what you think you see in your mind. Tell me what you think you saw and heard. But tell me as if I never experienced it, so that I can understand, so I can be able to get into the translation like you. Tell me as if I'm a 1-year-old child and I have never lived in this world long enough to understand it. And I tell them that, and then their great work. This one girl, she did that, and I said, she wrote something really, 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 really good. And I told her, I said, all you got to do is cut out some of the embellishment, and then you got a prize winner. I told my mentee that. She had the new writer's ego, where she didn't want to kill her darlings, as they say. She didn't want to cut back on some of the embellishment. And she placed as a finalist in the contest with the poem, but the judges told her she would have won if she would have cut back on some of the embellishment. Embellishment is something that new writers do because they become so obsessed with a certain emotion that it ends up becoming redundant, and they don't know that, okay? They don't know that. They're just trying to get as much as they can for that specific emotion. Even with artists, they do that. But once you give it to somebody new, or you look at it with fresh eyes, you can see the redundancy then, the unnecessary redundancy or the pretentious part of it. She didn't want to wait maybe a month and then go stare at it, and see what I saw. And she came back to me and wanted the free mentorship, but it wasn't available. I didn't feel compelled to give it to her for free again because she did not trust my feedback. And that kind of offended me, because it was like, okay, would she have trusted me if I was like East Indian like her? I felt like I was qualified to give the technique, but I wasn't qualified to give her critique. Yet I was. Okay. But after that, I said, you know what? Just to protect my self-esteem as an African American artist, I feel more comfortable teaching African American people, because I know that their doubt, once they hire me, their doubt has nothing to do with my race versus theirs, because we the same race. I don't have to worry about that. All right. But I do have to worry about Black people not even hiring me at all, because they just cannot believe that I'm qualified to teach them that. We're so trained, like you have to have a PhD. Y'all, your PhD is in the osmosis. If you've been born with the osmosis with it, you do not need a PhD at all. Just think about all the artists. Andy Warhol didn't have it. Lucille Clifton didn't have it. Langston, none of them had PhDs. Emily, none of them did. Charles Bukowski, none of them did. As a matter of fact, you got to be careful of taking so long with mastering, using your osmosis, using your special essence for your talents, because what will happen is you give some of the universities too many opportunities to run off with your work. When you put that work, when you like submit the papers to the professors, they can easily publish it. They're known to do it, you know, and they'll take your themes and main ideas. They know when they have gifted students. They know the giftedness is from the osmosis. They know. So this is why you have to be careful of how long you actually go to college for something that doesn't require a license. Okay? If you're like constantly going to these classes, same university, but these teachers, they all talking in the room, talking about how gifted you are. You know, for real, to be honest, when it's your destiny, you can pretty much take a 90-day course in it and be like, I'm good. Like it'll be that powerful. You know, for me, it was just a couple months. Just a couple months. You know, just the foundation. You know, just to be told how to do it. Once they told me, it was like, I got this. I didn't need to be told over and over and over again. It wasn't no repeats, spelling, keep trying at it. I didn't have to do that. You wanna do stuff where your osmosis is like that. Otherwise, everything else is a waste of your time. Okay? Everything else is a waste of your time then and money. Okay. Yeah. But when your osmosis is already there, when your metaphysical space already contains the skill set, okay, all you're doing is accessing it physically. See, when you do it, your brain can then know that it has it already. Your brain does not know that it has it already. But as soon as you do it, it's like, oh, I like a baby. When a baby figures out it has toes or legs or hands, it's the same thing with your osmosis. But we have spiritual leaders like me who can get you into your metaphysical space so you don't waste your time. Okay? Experimenting with all this different stuff, paying for all these unnecessary stuff, and then finding out you don't have osmosis for it. No, you need to get behind yourself. You need to be able to, if your intuition is messed up because you've been abused, then you need to go another way. You need to go and look into your metaphysical being then. You need to go on dream walks or go to someone who will do your natal chart for you, you know, or get you some oracles. A lot of people cannot intuitively tap into their metaphysical osmosis realization. They can't because they're abused. They're dealing with trauma. You're dealing with trauma. So they doubt their intuition. Their intuition say, yeah, you're supposed to be doing this. Pay for this. You have osmosis in this. But they say, nah, the narcissist told me I don't. My family members told me it's obsolete. I'm wasting my time. Let me tell y'all something. That Range Runner movie is true. We're not even here to get rich. We're not here to impress. We're here to train ourselves and to train other people. But we need to know what we're supposed to be training. And if you're traumatized, it's very hard to tap into that sensory that will let you know what you're supposed to be training. This is why we have spiritual leaders that are non-traditional now. The Creator has said, I want some non-traditional, because I see that even the churches is corrupting people's intuition, and people don't even know what they're supposed to be training in. They just praying, but the trauma is still blocking them. Okay? Some people aren't brave enough to surrender entirely in meditation and go on that dream walk and walk past demons on the dream walk and walk to their metaphysical self, so their metaphysical self to say, hey, this is what you're supposed to train in. Some people aren't that brave. Okay, I did the walk. But once you do the walk, you could never, like, once you do that walk, you will never be able to close your third eye after that. Okay, you have connected with your osmosis higher self. So at that point, the gateway is open. It's just wide open. Okay, so you're going to see demons and you're going to see dark things, but you're going to see also everything is connected with your metaphysical self and osmosis. When you do dream walks, okay, it requires you to know that you're protected. If you don't want to do the dream walk and just fall, let your soul just fall. Okay, if you're afraid of dying, then dream walks ain't for you. Because to access the osmosis and metaphysical self, it actually requires you to be like one level up from death. You're so close to the peace of the dead ones that went to the light. You're so close to that peace. You're so close. When you'll notice when you are able to access your osmosis through your creative energy and you're writing all this great work or you're creating all this good art or you'll that same feeling like a baby still in the womb. Okay, a baby doesn't know weight or pressure. An unborn baby does not even know gravity. When you feel that, okay, you're accessing osmosis. Now you can get there through a dream walk and then you just look around and see what you see. And as soon as you wake up, you just write down immediately what you saw, okay? Doesn't matter what it is. The symbolism of the things in your dream walk is revealing what your metaphysical self has to train in. And that also means the spiritual training, not just the creative training, not just the physical training, but also the character training. So what you see says what you're going to struggle with your character, what chakras you're going to struggle with, what battles you're going to have. Okay? We know what attacks elks, right? Don't we know what attacks elks? Bears eat elk. So we already know if you see an elk on your dream walk, then you know what you have to protect. You have to protect yourself from. You would have to protect yourself from bears. If you see a bear on your dream walk, then you would probably have to protect yourself from humans sometime. People who are hunters and, trying to, get your skin or trying to, wear you. So you would have to, protect yourself from sick people that's just out there just trying to like harvest, what you're made of. So I know people say, well, how do I do a dream walk? I will have a workshop very soon. But a lot of people, they're not ready for it because after that, you're going to have spiritual wars after that. Because the dark dimension is not going to like that you manage to step into your metaphysical space. They know you're going to have the upper hand against it. The dark dimension know that they're not going to be that strong against you after that. See, once you step into your metaphysical space, your intuition has an ultimate boost. Once you do that dream walk, your intuition is going to be 10 times louder than it is right now. 10 times. And you're going to realize just how forceful this spiritual war actually is. And a lot of people aren't even aware of how strong it actually is. But you will be super sensitive to it because it's so strong. Okay? Dream walks is important, but you can avoid all that. If you want to be like, I'm going to wait for the dream walk because I need sleep. I got a 9-to-5 job. I'm not trying to fight. I'm not trying to go to close my eyes and fight every time and see these demons and stuff. You can get a natal chart reading. Okay? The natal chart reading, people that can teach you the different ways how to figure out your destiny. That's why I keep telling y'all to get my book, my ebook. Okay? If here's another thing, if you are doing something in the minority community, no matter what minority group you're in, and you know it's going to change people's lives, it's going to give people the ultimate breakthrough, you do not concern yourself whether it's perfect. If it's true, if it's needed, if it's required at the time, you just put it out there, and who cares? Okay? Who cares? As a matter of fact, you could just, if it's a book, let's say it's a book. I wanted to talk about this, okay? Let's say you're doing a book and you know, this is so urgent. You know your book is going to change people's lives. Then you do the most simplest, plainest, minimalistic cover you can ever imagine. No one is going to care about that cover. Because as soon as they read the little excerpts in the back, and it's needed, it's required, it's in synchronicity, they're going to be like, I'm still getting this book, okay? And then if the work is readable, if you're writing books right now, the work is readable. If it's 90% grammarly correct, who cares? Just put it out there. Guess what? You don't even need a clickable table of contents. People will say, I'm cool with, I can accept it doesn't have a clickable table of contents because I just really needed this book. So I'm still going to read through it. Okay? Once upon a time, there was no clickable table of contents. Just think about it. Once upon a time, we had only paper books. So even if you're doing photography books, maybe say, I'm not going to do all this long clickable table of contents. People's minds can't even focus that long to be like a whole table of contents. Just do 3 titles for each chapter. All you do is a chapter title. It don't need to be broken down. People can find a chapter title. They can find what they need in that chapter. The problem is, what I realize even when we're doing products is we're overthinking like more and more. No, it's not. Actually, the less you can make it, the better for everybody's mind. Okay? That even goes with literature. If you can bust your literature down to symbolism and let people decide, okay, to dive deep, use 3 literary devices and symbolism and let everybody, do the translation. The problem is people thinking they need to know more. You might need to know a lot of skills, but you don't need to use all the skills every time. See? Grow your skills in your craft over months, but still do your craft using the skills that you have currently learned in that time of that month. So let's say you're learning 30 skills in literary writing over 6 months. If you learn 3 skills, already in just 1 month, that's enough. That's enough to write some great stuff. We overthink, okay? Because especially with minorities, we're always told you need higher standards, higher expectations on you. That is an illusion. The publishers are not expecting that from you. It is people deceiving you, y'all. I have written work where I literally just used all nouns. I wasn't even thinking of literary devices. I was just like using nouns and verbs throughout it, and just said whatever literary device is in here is in here. I wasn't even pre-thinking on choosing anything. I just used only nouns and verbs. Okay? And I didn't care if I said a talking sock or I was like, this shoe is talking. I didn't care. I just said, let me just put a verb there with this shoe, and that's it. I didn't even know I was like personifying. I was sitting on this couch just writing this nonsense poem. I had no idea I wrote something that would give me as free stay in a motel. The publisher actually covered my stay in a hotel, paid for my ticket to come to the festival, and for me to be the featured writer. I had no idea that I was writing something like that. Really, to be honest, you just need to know the basics in your craft, and let your osmosis and God do the work. Let God just take over while you're doing it. Surrender control over what you're creating. Now, you can clean it up afterwards, shorten it, and all that. See, osmosis, and I keep going back to this because it's important, it will also tell you when you have created something in which it is done. Okay, you don't go by what the teachers tell you. You got to go by the sensation and feeling in your body. Law of attraction is a feeling. It's also a feeling of completion. So when you create your art, if you are too critical of yourself, you're going to have to take time away from it and then use your osmosis type feeling and see how it makes you feel. Often when you have created something exceptional, there is a moment at the end of this work in which you are in suspension. You have elevation that seems like it is not ending. Okay. There's an elevation of the person's mind and soul. That's when you know that your work has ended with something very, very good. That's how you figure out how to end your work. When your work is doing really good, the sensation of constant elevation should be happening. Okay? It should make people uncomfortable to the point where it's like, you're taking my mind here and there, transcendent. When it's doing that, you're on to something great. You're on to something great. That is what you're supposed to ask your readers, the people to give you feedback. Did you feel elevation through my work? Did you feel like your mind was transcending to different type of experiences? Okay. Did I transform you? Did I make you uncomfortable even with being you, like you was being somebody else? Did I make your mind feel like it was traveling to different locations and different lives, not just your own? When you did you feel like you was inside of a movie scene? Even art is a movie scene. Even if people got to study it deep, it's a scene. It's a moment of elevation, okay? When you can create that type of feeling in people, then you know you're on to something. You're accessing the power of your osmosis. All right. Okay. All right. I do have books. If you want to read my chapbooks, my poetry chapbooks are on Amazon. Okay. I'm going to post a link to my Amazon today so y'all can get my new books. All right. As I said, some of y'all don't need to do meditation. You just need to know, you need the map of your metaphysical space. Once you get the map and you accept the map, then your consciousness will automatically go to the metaphysical space when you sleep. You accepted the map. You accepted the mission. You accepted the training and the journey. When you accept it, your mind's like, okay, I'm not afraid. It's going to go on the dream walk whether you want it to or not. All your dreams are going to be prophets of yours. You're going to become a prophet of your osmosis. Okay? You're going to access the prophet that you are. Okay? You have been chosen to have a special understanding in something. Your metaphysical space has the power to do that. Okay? Stop forcing yourself to understand other things. I got to study real hard. You should not have to study real hard. I know. No. It should be like, your studying should be like, it's study hard for somebody else. But for me, my metaphysical self is in love with it. Okay? When you in love with something, do you have to be trained to treat it good? No. No. When you are hopelessly in love with something, you just automatically pull towards it. You automatically can sense what you got to give it. That is the same thing with any type of creation. Okay? All right. Okay. Hi, everybody. I didn't say not study. I said not study hard. See, that's the word. Okay? That's the word. We're not talking about study. We're talking about study hard. Believe me, there's medical students who don't got to study hard. I know you like to think, no, there isn't. We all got, no, they'll probably never tell you. They'll probably never tell you. Now, you have free will. You can study what you want. But the most precious thing I have is my time. Okay? Because once this body gone, I'm done. I might not even have this mission in my next life. My soul might be like just training on the other side what I was doing on this side. So because my time, and there is an expiration date in your time for doing your mission. So some of y'all may spend 20 years doing something and be like, you know what? I still don't got emotional fulfillment from this. See, just serving the world ain't enough. You have to get emotional fulfillment. Without a doubt, no one can take it from you. No one should be able to take the emotional fulfillment from you. If it's really in your osmosis. If it's really in your osmosis, no one should be able to crush your love for it. No one can crush my love for this. People can call me what they want, witch, whatever. At the end of the day, I'm stuck. I love this. I know the elevation that it keeps me. I keep elevation. Somebody can tear me down day and night doing this. And my elevation can't come down because my metaphysical self is always suspended in it. So the body must follow. The body energetically must follow. So my thing is, if you're fighting for elevation with whatever you're studying, if you're like, I gotta do this, you need to ask is like, are you really supposed to do it? Okay. All right. Okay, y'all, I'm a head on out. This is something a lot of people don't want to hear. Because nobody want to be like, maybe I wasted my money. Suck it up, y'all. Suck it up. Okay? Saying you just want to be of service is not enough. It should bring you, whatever you're doing should be fixing your life. Not just financially. It should be making you a better person even at home. When people do their work and be like, yeah, I'm making big money, I'm serving the community, but then they go home and they're still narcissistic and toxic. Nope, that's not your mission. This makes me if I'm doing this and and my personality improves and grows, it should go beyond just this video. It should go beyond in my life if it's who I am metaphysically. I have seen doctors come in the room nice to me, but then when I walk past their station, they're arrogant, smart mouth with the nurses. They sitting up there, they don't even say, I hope you get well. Come back if you ain't well. They don't say nothing. They just put the medication in my mouth, send a nurse to my room, then sit there all frozen at the desk. And I'm like, okay, they're in it for the money. They're miserable. They're miserable inside. They're coming in my face smiling like they care about me. They're following the medical rules. But where is the kindness on the way out? Where is it? I'm just saying, even as an African-American woman, I don't get that much kindness from doctors when I go to the ER or when I go to these hospitals. They ain't that nice to me. They ain't that nice to me. So I'm not saying that, it's just always a race thing, but I'm just saying that if it really was their osmosis, they should not be able to resist being kind when they're doing their mission. None of my literary students can say, I went cold, I flipped on them, I got an attitude, no, none of them can say that. None of the spiritual people in my email can say to suddenly I just like flipped and flopped on them. None of them can say I just, all of a sudden this random email is like, I ain't really feeling what I'm doing. I have a problem with people in the medical world. They always trying to avoid giving people something for free. Like, I still do this for free sometimes. Now, I know some people say, well, I got student loans or whatever. But see, if it's really what your destiny is, why are you worried about giving something for free in the medical world? If you have the resources, why don't you go give them resources to the minorities that's in the ER rooms? Why sit up there and just keep on writing up prescriptions and make them pay all the time? I'm just saying, y'all, the medical world is the most expensive field. And it's like, a lot of people are like, no mercy. No mercy about it. Our destiny still requires us to be merciful and consider that not everybody could afford to get to where we are and what we're doing or afford the benefits that we're getting from it. So, y'all, hi, everybody. I don't know what somebody's saying. Who's Alfie? Okay, I guess that's an insult. So I'll put that person in timeout. Okay. Let me clean up the chat so everybody's head don't hurt. This negative energy makes people head hurt. I can feel it. Toxic. Okay. Okay. Just cleaning things up. Exactly. Stop waiting to be monetized by these apps. And what I found out is whatever you're good at, you have to do it 3 times at least. Okay? You have to do it 3 times in a 1-year period. Like Stephen King, he publishes at least 3 books a year. Every 3 months. Okay? And that goes with any downloads you put on YouTube. Do it 3 more times, add to each download, and then publish them and put them out somewhere 3 times elsewhere. This is you also putting pressure on the metaphysical space to give you it physically. Okay? You can never overteach something. That's something that I learned. Like, I used to think I could writing about the same thing. But you can't. Okay? You can write 1 million poems all about grief. You can do 1 million even with the same colors, just changing the shapes or whatever, or changing the order of the stuff on it, but it could be on the same thing. Okay? If it's something that worked before, will work again. Just keep doing it, but keep doing it everywhere. Take it everywhere, everywhere you could do it. Hi, everybody. I'll see y'all later. I gotta go, y'all. It's about that time, and I got some workshops to get to, and I gotta post the link to my Amazon books in the community news. Bye, everybody.